What's going on, everybody? Aidan from Birds vs. Boys here. Another just sensational weekend on Philadelphia Twitter with the collapse of I-95. Obviously, going to be a disaster here in Philadelphia, but the content that it provides is just something special. There's no better city in terms of just making jokes out of bad fortune than Philadelphia and Philadelphia sports fans. We have plenty of expertise in the area, so that has dominated the headlines here today, but there are still some Eagles things to get into, so let's do that. Everything that was this weekend with the Philadelphia Eagles. Before we do, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We say it about every video now, but the subscribers have been going up a lot since the NFL draft. And as we hit the dog days of summer, we're still going to be having content. Kevin and I did a show last week, kind of going over the OTAs and everything like that. And we'll keep that coming out all through this season. And then just make sure to like the videos. That'll have a pop up for you every single time that you go into YouTube. So these videos are first. So let's get into it. Like I said, not every weekend that a giant highway that is going to cause major backups just collapses and has a sinkhole and has fires underneath of it. That doesn't happen very often. So it's easy for some things to get overlooked in terms of Philadelphia sports. Although Castellanos did hit a home run, so that's about right on par. Let's get into it though. A former Eagle is making headlines with some comments that he made about Philadelphia and his time there. So Miles Sanders says he was disappointed with his number of touches in the Super Bowl. His quote: last game of the season for all the marbles, if they put themselves in my shoes, would they be happy? I want to make headlines, but if it does, I don't care. Maybe you should ask them why I'm moving here. Okay, a few things with this. Two very important things. One, do we remember the Super Bowl? I know we try to block that out in terms of like trauma wise because it was so tough for us. But the reason that Miles Sanders was forgot about in that game, his first touch of the game was a fumble. It went backwards to put them behind the line of the scrimmage on the very first play of the game. He also, on one of his first touches in the second half, had a fumble. And actually, it was an incompletion that almost and was reviewed to be a fumble and was returned for a touchdown and would have been ruled a touchdown if it hadn't been an incompletion. He was put on the ball on the ground a lot. He was not effective. Kenny Gainwell was. I like Miles Sanders. I hope he does very well in Carolina. This seems to be the Miles Sanders that I know. He was very productive last year. Ran well, seemed to finally be having the vision to match his athleticism, did well behind that offensive line, 1,000-yard rusher, was very durable, playing every game. Fantastic. Loved it. But there just seems to be this missing puzzle piece. He's almost a complete puzzle, but not really. It's the reasons why he's never in the conversation with guys like Saquon. It's the reason why he's never in the conversation with other guys in terms of dual threat people like Christian McCaffrey. There's this missing link. And it's like he's just not made for the big moments. Like I said, I like him. I hope he succeeds there. I come from a Penn State family, so they love Penn State guys. You want Miles Sanders to succeed. I remember a Penn State game. They're trying to wind down the clock against Ohio State, and they're running the ball, and he fumbles and gives Ohio State the ball back. They score. Penn State gets the ball back. They get stuffed. Game over. I can point to a lot of those moments in Miles Sanders' career where maybe it's fair, maybe it's not. Like in the COVID year where it was a disaster and the year wasn't going anywhere anyways, the second game of the season against the Rams, they had talked about all the miscues that they had made week one and how that's on us. You know, like we're causing too many mental mistakes. It's not the other team. We just need to improve. And he fumbles the first carry. So there's just always this just like he doesn't meet the moment, and that's kind of how it felt in the Super Bowl. And that's why I was like, yeah, they're going to have to ride Gainwell. And we kind of knew that this would happen because it's tough to pay a running back in this day and age. Just look at what's going on with the Giants. Saquon Barkley will not be at their mandatory minicamp, and he hasn't signed his franchise tender yet because he wants to get paid. But do you pay a running back? It's kind of tough. And a lot of teams get into that position. So Dalvin Cook just released. So it happens quite often these days that running backs just don't get paid. And we knew that this was a possibility going into the offseason, but it was like they couldn't wait till the offseason. They're like, all right, well, we just have to go and throw Gainwell in there now. We think he'll be an important part of our future, but he's the hot hand and the season's on the line. I think the Eagles wished they could have depended on Miles Sanders in the Super Bowl. They wished that he had more touches. They wished that he was in the headlines for all the right reasons around that Super Bowl, but he just wasn't. And I kind of think that sums up the Miles Sanders era where he was pretty good, but there was just this missing link, and I don't know if he knows that. The second thing, and we kind of touched on this, financials. He says, maybe ask them why you aren't here. He could have ran for 100 yards in the Super Bowl, probably wouldn't have been back. In the next 2 years, the Panthers owe Miles Sanders $10.1 million. This year, the Eagles owe Rashad Penny, DeAndre Swift, and Kenny Gainwell $3.9 total. That is it. Less than $4 million for 3 running backs, 2 of which have been as productive at times as Miles Sanders, if not more productive, as Rashad Penny was the leading rusher through 6 weeks in the NFL last year. That is why he's not here. It is a business. It is financials. And as much as you would love a guy, sometimes those decisions have to be made. And I think he'll do well in Carolina. I hope he gets a lot of touches. There's 3 guys here who can do the job for less money. And that is capitalism there in America for you, buddy. That's just what it is. All right, on to the softball game. This has been having a lot of clips online. I thought it's a ton of fun. The DeVonta Smith charity softball game that they do out there in Allentown where the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs play. It's drawing big crowds. It seems like everyone's having a ton of fun. All of the players are there. Even some other guys who aren't part of the Eagles are there. I saw Saquon was there, got struck out by Jalen Hurts, which was very funny. The Eagles improved to 4-0 against the Giants this year. Like Gilly the Kid was there. A bunch of different people who aren't even the Eagles. So it's growing, and you love to see them being able to raise charity money like that in that situation and utilize your summer that way. Because if you ask the NBA, I think they would wish that a lot of their players were in the headlines for doing charity softball games instead of other extracurricular activities that they are doing off the court in the NBA. So it's nice to see all the guys rally together for a charitable cause instead of other headlines that the NBA players have been involved in. I think the highlight of this, one of them involved Jalen Hurts, where he struck out Saquon Barkley, which just kind of feels like our rivalry with the Giants lately. And then a lot of people have been pointing this out. The first clip that went viral of Jalen Hurts was him grittying across home plate and scoring. And it just was like another reminder that Jalen Hurts is the coolest human being ever. And it's just really nice to root for someone as cool as he is. And it was like Justin Jefferson level. But then if you zoom out and watch the entire video, he slides into third and just completely rips his leg up. Just skin right off of him. It was just a classic like slide burn where if you don't have baseball pants on and you don't have the socks that come up to your knees, taking the skin right off, which is exactly what happened. And I think somebody posted like, please don't show Howie Roseman this. So I thought that was kind of funny, just the competitor that Jalen Hurts is. You know, charitable softball game. It's not really about who wins and loses. It's more about what money we're going to be able to raise in this softball game. It's a summer game. It's not even real. And he's sliding into third base and then grittying home to score. That's just kind of who he is as a person. But it looked like it was awesome. Looked like everybody had a good time. A lot of great quotes. DeVonta Smith was interviewed talking about how much he loved Philly and understanding Philly as a place. He's like, if you play hard, they'll love you. And I think this group kind of just gets that. And it's just nice. I think there was a lot of access to the players, which is awesome. Without Lehigh anymore, not too far from where the Iron Pigs play is where they used to have training camp. And that is the most access that you could have to the team. They don't have that anymore. They practice behind the bushes at NovaCare Complex. So to have this opportunity where you can see them in the minor league stadium and see them up close and see them in a relaxed environment where they're talking to the fans, taking pictures and signing autographs is awesome. So that's it for the headlines this week. Good luck with everybody getting to work this week and for the months to come. And let's just be real with ourselves for the years to come, for the decades to come. This will never be over. That highway will never be fixed. It's gone. So we'll be back with a regular show. Kevin's going to do some shows this week. There's some, prospects and free agents out there for the Cowboys. We'll see if they get that done. And we'll go from there as OTAs finish with these teams, and we'll look into the NFC East, and we have a few interviews lined up as well. So again, make sure to like and subscribe, and we will talk to you soon.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds versus Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Yep. Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things. I got 2 phones. Upset alert. Upset alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there.
There's no hope. Hope is gone. If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes.
Bob Hope.
I'm going to drink bleach.
That is
the team you promised me you were going to be this year.
This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.